It's probably one of the toughest things any dog owner goes through, isn't it? Seeing your best friend getting older, slowing down, and, well, knowing their time might be coming to an end.
It really is, and it brings up so many questions, so much emotion, like what's actually happening? What should I be doing? How do you even cope?
Exactly. Those are the big questions, and that's what we're going to try and explore today. We've looked into veterinary information to help understand the signs, the signs a dog might be dying.
Right, and also what you can do to make them comfortable, and importantly, how to navigate this really, really challenging time emotionally.
Yeah. And just a quick note before we dive in, this is really meant as guidance, to help you understand what might be going on. Every dog is different.
Absolutely. So if you're worried at all, the best thing is always, always to talk to your vet.
Definitely. Okay, so where do we start? Maybe with understanding the aging process itself.
Yeah, that's a good place.
Yeah.
So we often talk about dogs becoming senior. You might see a bit of gray. Maybe they're not quite as bouncy. That's pretty normal.
Oh. Huh. Then you get geriatric dogs. This is where you might see more noticeable things like arthritis, maybe their hearing or eyesight isn't what it was.
Okay.
And then there's this final stage, the end-of-life stage. And that's when you tend to see more sort of severe symptoms cropping up.
Right. Because it's easy to confuse just general slowing down with something more serious, isn't it? I mean, older dogs do sleep more.
That's a really key point. Yes, a senior dog might nap more. Maybe they tire out quicker on walks. But when we talk about end-of-life signs, it's usually a much more profound decline.
Okay, profound how?
Like a persistent lack of energy, a real struggle to get around, maybe obvious signs they're uncomfortable or in pain. It's a noticeable shift in their overall well-being.
And one of the first things people often notice is changes in eating.
Yes, absolutely. Changes in appetite and thirst are often early indicators.
Right.
You might see a dog who, lived for their dinner suddenly losing interest.
Or becoming really fussy. Exactly. Or just refusing food altogether. And this often comes with, well, weight loss, which can be quite dramatic sometimes.
Why does that happen? Is it just that they don't feel like eating?
It can be partly that, but it's often more complex. Their body systems might be starting to shut down, including the ones that regulate hunger. Plus, they might have trouble actually digesting food properly, especially protein, which leads to more weight loss.
And it's not just food, is it? Drinking less is also a sign.
Yes, definitely. Decreased thirst or stopping drinking completely is really serious. It can lead to dehydration very quickly.
Is there anything you can do about that, the hydration part?
Sometimes you can try offering small amounts of water with a clean oral syringe, just tiny bits at a time. But, the underlying issue is often that the body's signals for thirst just aren't working properly anymore as organs weaken.
That makes sense. Okay, so appetite and thirst. What about energy levels? You mentioned a profound decline.
Yeah, so it's more than just extra naps. We're talking sleeping most of the day, showing zero interest in things they used to adore.
Like walks or toys.
Exactly. Or even interacting with the family. They might just lie in one spot for hours and hours. Sometimes they even find like a quiet corner to hide away in.
And does their behavior change too, like how they interact with people?
It can, yeah. Some dogs become quite withdrawn. They isolate themselves. But interestingly,
Yes.
others do the complete opposite. They can become incredibly clingy, like they need constant reassurance, constant contact.
Huh? So it really varies.
It really does. Depends on the dog's personality.
Okay. Another thing that must be really hard to see is when they struggle to move.
Mm-hmm. Mobility issues are very common. You'll see a definite worsening. Maybe they only walk very slowly instead of running. They might seem unsteady, stumble a bit.
Things like stairs become a problem.
Oh, definitely. Stairs, getting up, lying down, jumping onto the sofa. All those things that used to be effortless can become huge challenges.
And that could be arthritis, or maybe their eyesight failing.
Could be either, or a combination. Arthritis is common, but poor vision can also make them hesitant and unsure.
Are there ways to help them with mobility, even at this stage?
Yes, absolutely. Little things can make a big difference, like making sure their food and water are really easy to get to, no obstacles.
Right.
Non-slip surfaces are great. You can get special dog socks or put down rugs. Ramps are fantastic for steps or furniture.
And for smaller dogs?
A supportive sling can be really helpful just to give them a bit of assistance when they're walking, take some weight off.
Okay, good tips. Now, another difficult one is incontinence, losing bladder or bowel control.
Yeah, that's tough for everyone involved. It often happens because the muscles controlling everything weaken, or sometimes it's cognitive, they just aren't aware they need to go.
So accidents happen in the house.
Yes, while they're awake or even when they're sleeping. The really important thing here is not to get angry or scold them. They can't help it.
So what can you do?
Well, taking them outside much more frequently can sometimes help manage it, and using things like puppy pads or bedding protection.
Right, okay. Then there are changes in breathing. That sounds quite scary.
It can be distressing to witness, yes. You might notice they're having trouble breathing, even when they're just resting. Labored breathing.
What does that look like?
It could be breathing really fast, or maybe taking long pauses between breaths, or very shallow breathing. Sometimes there's a rattling sound.
The death rattle?
Yes, though that term is a bit dramatic. It's usually due to mucus or fluid buildup. But it's important to know, natural death isn't always peaceful like in the movies. It often involves some struggle.
Okay. And what about their temperature? Can that change?
It can, yeah. They might struggle to regulate their body temperature, so they might feel unusually hot or cold, regardless of the room temperature. It's another sign the body systems are struggling.
And sadly, sometimes there are neurological signs too, like seizures.
Unfortunately, yes. Seizures can happen sometimes because organs like the kidneys or even the brain are failing. It's very upsetting to see.
Are there other neurological things to look out for?
You might notice disorientation. They might seem confused, lost, even in their own home. Tremors, twitching, shaking those involuntary muscle movements can also occur.
Wow. Okay. Are there any other sort of physical signs, maybe more subtle ones?
Yeah, a few other things you might notice. Their gums might look pale, not the usual healthy pink.
Okay.
Their skin might get very dry, or their coat condition might worsen. And sometimes, unfortunately, there can be an unpleasant odor.
An odor. From what?
It could be related to incontinence if they're not being kept clean, or maybe dental problems that haven't been addressed, or even internal issues.
Gosh, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But knowing these signs helps us understand, right? And helps us think about how to provide comfort.
Exactly. Understanding what might be happening is the first step to providing the best possible care in their final days or weeks.
So let's talk about that comfort and care. What are the main things we should focus on?
It really boils down to two main areas: physical comfort and emotional support.
Okay, let's start with physical.
So a clean, comfortable bed is crucial. Something soft, maybe orthopedic if they have joint pain. If incontinence is an issue, using disposable potty pads under them helps keep them clean and dry.
What about dog diapers?
They can be an option, but you have to be really diligent about changing them and cleaning the skin to prevent sores and irritation. Keeping them warm is also important. Soft blankets, maybe a low-set heating pad if they seem cold.
And minimizing movement if they seem painful.
Definitely. If moving clearly causes distress, try to keep them settled and bring things like water to them.
Okay. And the emotional side, that feels just as important.
It absolutely is. Just spending quiet time with them, being present, talking to them calmly, reassuringly, gentle petting if they seem to enjoy it.
Just letting them know you're there.
Exactly. Staying nearby as much as you can, having their favorite blanket or toy, close familiar smells can be very comforting.
What about managing pain if they seem uncomfortable?
That's paramount. You really need to talk to your vet about pain relief. There are medications that can help manage pain significantly. It's called palliative care, focusing on comfort, not cure.
Can vets help with anxiety too, if the dog is restless?
Yes, sometimes mild sedatives might be prescribed if restlessness or anxiety is a major issue. Again, just to help them feel more peaceful.
And you mentioned keeping them clean, especially with incontinence.
Yes, hygiene is so important to prevent skin infections or sores. Gentle cleaning with a damp, soft cloth and lukewarm water is usually best. Avoid stressful full baths if they're very weak.
It sounds like you need to be really observant through all this.
You do. Paying close attention to any changes, eating, drinking, breathing, behavior is key. And keeping your vet in the loop about everything you're seeing.
Are there any tools to help assess how they're doing, like their quality of life?
Yeah. There are a couple of ways people think about it. One simple way is the rule of 5 good things. Think of 5 things your dog genuinely loves doing. When they can no longer enjoy, say, 3 or more of those things, it might indicate their quality of life is declining.
Or just good days versus bad days?
Exactly. Keeping a simple tally, are there more good days than bad days? That can be a really useful indicator over time.
And I've heard of a scale, the HHHHM scale.
Ah, yes, the HHHHMM scale. It's a bit more structured. It stands for hurt, hunger, hydration, happiness, hygiene, mobility, and more good days than bad.
How does that work?
Basically, you score each category, often on a scale of 1 to 10, with higher being better. If you're seeing consistently low scores, particularly, say, below 5 across several categories, it's a strong sign that their quality of life is significantly compromised.
And that might lead to, well, the hardest decision, euthanasia.
It's a conversation no one wants to have, but it's often the most compassionate one. We have this idea of peaceful natural death, but for dogs, it can often involve distress and suffering.
So euthanasia is a way to prevent that suffering.
Yes. It's a medical procedure performed by a vet using an injection that allows them to pass away peacefully and without pain. It's designed to be gentle.
And sometimes it can be done at home.
Yes, many vets offer at-home euthanasia now, which allows the dog to be in their familiar, comfortable surroundings, often with their family right there. It can be a much less stressful experience for everyone.
It really is about putting their needs first, isn't it? Even though it hurts us so much.
Absolutely. It's about assessing their quality of life honestly with your vet's help and making the decision that prevents further suffering. There's often guilt, doubt. That's completely normal. But choosing euthanasia when the time is right is truly an act of love.
And then comes the grief, which can just be overwhelming.
It really can be. Losing a pet is losing a family member. The sadness, loneliness, sometimes anger or guilt. Those feelings are all valid, all part of grieving.
When helps? How do people cope?
Firstly, be kind to yourself. Self-care sounds like a cliche, but trying to rest, eat, just get through the day is important. Don't be afraid to lean on friends and family who understand.
And there's specific support for pet loss, too.
Yes, definitely. Pet loss support groups, online forums, helplines, they can be incredibly helpful because you're talking to people who get it, who understand that intense bond. The Blue Cross has a bereavement service, for example.
What about ways to remember them, memorializing them?
That can be very healing for some people. Things like cremation and keeping the ashes, maybe burying them if you can, keeping a lock of fur or a paw print.
Or creating something.
Yeah, like a photo album, a memory box. Some people find writing a letter to their pet helps them process whatever feels right for you. And seriously, take time off work if you need it. Your grief is real.
What if there are children or other pets?
Good question. With kids, be honest but age-appropriate. Involving them respectfully might help them understand. Other pets will notice the absence and may grieve too. They might need extra cuddles, reassurance, sticking to routines.
And maybe hold off on getting a new pet right away.
Generally, yes. Everyone needs time to grieve, including other animals. Rushing into it usually isn't fair to the new pet or to your own grieving process.
It sounds like the main thing is just allowing yourself to feel it. Acknowledging the loss.
Absolutely. It's okay to mourn deeply. The connection we have with our dogs is profound. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Finding new routines can eventually help, but removing their things, do that at your own pace. There's no schedule for grief.
It really is a journey. And hopefully, understanding the signs, the process, the options for comfort, it helps make that final chapter a little less frightening, maybe.
I think so. It empowers you to provide the best, most loving care you can right up to the end.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, just remember that incredible bond you have. Cherish the time. And when things get tough, know that you're not alone in feeling this way. And focusing on their comfort is the greatest gift you can give.
Well said. And please, one final, really crucial reminder. If you have any concerns about your pet's health, at any stage, please consult your veterinarian. This discussion is for educational insight. It's absolutely not a substitute for professional veterinary advice.